Hey, welcome to the Business Owner Spotlight Series. My name is Gabriel Moore. I am a senior partner here at Action Coach Vanguard in Central Iowa Business Coaching. Today, I have Brian Tiernan, owner of DSM Advantage, LLC, and Shamrock Advanced Transport as my guest. We're going to be talking about his business, journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek into what's really like to build and operate multiple businesses in this case. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. Brian, welcome, man, and thank you so much for being here today. Please give us a brief overview of your background and tell us a little bit about your businesses.
Yeah, well, thanks, Gabe. I really appreciate you having me. It really is an honor. I've I kind of mentioned to you before the call, I've just really enjoyed your content, and the people that you've already spoke to on this little video podcast really made me want to do it. So I appreciate it. I'm Brian Tiernan. I'm the owner of those two entities. My journey originally began in Granger, Iowa. I was a product Granger. My journey to Ankeny, where I basically kind of grew up and where I graduated high school, started when my dad became the service manager at Carl Chevrolet. And that really kind of changed in my, when your parents then go through a divorce around that same time. And we kind of picked up from a small town and moved to Ankeny in 5th grade. And it was such a blessing because just a little bit about me personally, my wife and I grew up next door to each other on Northeast Stone Ridge here in Ankeny. And if that move would have never occurred, I would have probably never had the best thing in my life. So
There we go.
To get that plug in for her. My journey began, I graduated from Ankeny, went to Iowa Central and Fort Dodge, transferred to Iowa. Always wanted to be business management, business administration was always going to be my focus. I screwed around too much my last semester at Iowa and decided that I was going to kind of go back to work and get my degree at Iowa State. And so I took my last year, graduated in 2003 with a degree in business management. And then I took my career back to Iowa City, where I spent 8 years at C.H. Robinson. And C.H. Robinson is a large 3PL, third-party logistics company, doesn't own any assets, but is one of the largest third-party logistics companies in the world. And worked for some amazing people over those 8 years and took a branch from 12 to 75. And very high intensity, a lot of phone, a lot of plane.
A lot of travel.
Yes. Yeah. And but it was, you learned the game, and you learned all the modes: truckload, LTL, rail, international. You learn how to sell a solution,
Yeah, absolutely.
After that, I was there for 8 years. And the plan was, when my wife and I were going to start having kids, that the plan was we were always going to come back home. And her parents still live in the same house that she grew up in. And we wanted to be close to that. And so in 2012, started our transition back to Ankeny, bought a house here on the northwest side. My wife went to go get, when we were getting financing for our home, Lincoln Savings Bank also needed an insurance agent. And so we got that checked off right away, kind of just by happen chance. And at that point in time, I had left C.H. Robinson, and we had my son, and I had an opportunity to work with an existing customer, and this kind of gave me an opportunity to be home more and spend time with my newly born son, and kind of took me off the road too.
Not everybody makes that decision, Brian. Not everybody forfeits maybe a position like that to go into family. That's an incredibly respectful thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And honestly, it was an easy thing because once him and he's laying on my chest, I was like, how do I get to soak this in every minute?
Right. It's a no-brainer.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I was doing some, of course, the logistics always sucks you back in. And I went to go work as a director at Express Logistics out of Urbandale, Iowa now. And really learned, really just kind of honed in on my skills and how to sell a solution they were a smaller company. So I almost felt like you had to kind of create your own brand in a sense, that was an express logistics. And Chad Rubner, Melissa Marshak, just incredible owner. Then the number two are just incredible leaders, and learned a ton. And when we moved back here back in 2012, 2013, my wife got very heavily involved with the Ankeny Chamber. And through that relationship, I was put in contact and started getting recruited by CJM Financial out of Ankeny.
Okay.
Trent and Renee Murphy, and we had met them on a TRC trip, and there was a connection made there, and being that I have a transportation background, they were in transportation receivables, possibly wanted to start a trucking company, possibly wanted to start a freight brokerage company and leasing company. So it was just kind of the stars aligned at that point in time. And came on as vice president of CJM Financial in 2017. And holy cow, that first year and a half was such a blur. In 2018, we started Shamrock Advanced Transport with one driver, one truck, one trailer. In 2019, started DSM Advantage officially and started brokering some freight and started acquiring some assets. And I would say by the end of it's hard, Gabe, to even kind of go back and and take stock in it,
Gratitude, right? I mean, honestly, in the end, it comes down to when you do take stock into it, it's like, where did I come from? What's going on? Who am I right now? I'm right there with you, man. Like 2024, at the beginning of 2024, I'm just like checking in and being like, let's go 2024. Like, come on. Look what we did. Look what we did.
We're going to murder this year.
We're going to murder this year. That's so cool. Hey, okay. So let's set the stage for the viewers real quick. What role right now do you currently play in those businesses?
Yeah, I'm primarily 100% owner of DSM Advantage and Advanced Transport. I have one other full-time employee, John Dill, the most amazing, most loyal partner you can possibly have. He's my best friend. Been thick and thin. We met at Express Logistics before coming on to CJM Financial. He was moving on to a different role with a company called XPO. And I keep my number because I thought the stuff that I was going to embark on, I wanted him as a partner, to go through. Steady Eddie. And
Steady Eddie. Steady Eddie.
Yes. And
I know the type.
He's seen a lot, neither one of us had started a trucking company before. Neither one of us had started a freight brokerage company before. Neither one of us had ever leased any equipment before. And so, contract creation, just understanding how to log into QuickBooks, Gabe.
Hey, you're speaking of the choir, man. We literally deal with this stuff on a daily basis of people who they might have such great backgrounds as like you do. And then you're like logging into QuickBooks for the first time. You're like, oh, okay, here we go. And they may not teach you that kind of stuff in school. I know they don't really teach small business ownership or medium business ownership. It's a lot more analytics and logistics, kind of like what you were dealing with before.
Right.
So when you move into the lead generation and marketing and stuff like that, who primarily does your business serve? Like if I were in the audience, how would I know if I was a good fit for you?
We would like to service Fortune 500 companies, Inc. 1000 companies, anyone that produces a product that needs to be moved across this country. I would like to be involved in it. And customers that, the real is securing volume in general in a market where that's been constricted the last year and a half. Volumes have been down. People are carrying less inventory.
Sure.
The average invoice for a transportation move has gone down at least 50%. And that's people's margin, And so the problem is like everybody is out there competing, if you, I think that's kind of my company's apart is that I do have my own assets, right? And so in the end, I have to send somebody to go get something that we can't line up as an intermediary, as a third party.
Right.
I have to do that, whereas a lot of our competitors don't. In
Okay.
the end, pick something up with a semi and a tractor trailer. You do,
Right. I'd
Um,
imagine that transport and trucking specifically, especially in the United States, has seen a pretty big hit, right? I mean, over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, I'll walk you through it, and it's kind of hand in hand in Shamrock, right? And
Right.
we took it from one driver to the end of 22. We were at 7 drivers, right?
Okay.
Um, we helped get them their semis. We provided them with trailers. Started accumulating trailers from a third-party vendor that we then turned around and leased back out in a very good market. And really following COVID, Gabe, the transportation market flipped upside down. It was kind of soft. COVID dropped all the way down, stayed down there for 2 or 3 months. And
Yeah.
then it was ship, a rocket ship.
Wow. Like a vertical line. Yeah.
Vertical line, because trucks were flying off the shelf. Trailers became a premium. The average trailer cost doubled. Semi prices doubled. And so going into 2022, things were kind of starting to cool off, right? A little bit. 2021 was a rocket ship the whole year. It was like you
That's
couldn't
crazy.
pay a truck enough, to do
Yeah.
needed to. So your drivers, the owner operators are out there sourcing their own freight. We're having a really, 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 really good time because they were wanted. We hit about May of 2022, and we started seeing some major headwinds with Shamrock. Of the 50 it built up, so I said we started with 1 truck and 1 trailer. We had built up that on my insurance policy, I had 63 pieces of equipment, 63 pieces of equipment. And we had an operation. Shamrock at the end of, I think, 22 did 1.8 million.
Okay.
And it was a lot, but what
It's a
started
game changer, right? I mean, it's let's go
like,
territory. Yeah.
Like I do wrong. I can buy equipment, sell equipment. I can make money here. I got stuff out. People want my product, so you feel that feels good. However, when you start seeing those headwinds and you start having equipment come back to you, and then you're responsible for fixing that equipment, where a labor market has changed, the commodities have all gone up across the board: tires, brakes, anything that's associated with running over the road trucking skyrocketed, especially that labor rate with diesel. Gas went through the roof. You're talking about $5 a gallon. If you're dealing with a diesel truck, $1 a mile of operating that vehicle solely goes into fuel, period.
Right.
So meanwhile, you start seeing the average rate on all the analytics that we look at tumbling. And so where the average rate used to be about, almost over $3 a mile for the average 53-foot dry van over the road per mile rate across the country, is now dropped all the way down to about $2.20 a mile, right?
Wow.
That's a major drop. All meanwhile, insurance rates have gone up, fuel has gone up, kind of come down here lately as the market has softened, but just a lot of headwinds, right? And by the time go ahead, Gabe. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, you said headwinds. You said headwinds a few times.
Yeah.
And I have a mentality in my life of when, if it wasn't for headwinds and tailwinds, I wouldn't know how to sail, or I wouldn't know how to fly. And it's a matter of utilizing those triumphs and trials, right? I mean, challenges and rewards, and using those to be better at your craft and what you're doing. And so you already kind of seem like optimistic, pretty grateful guy on the surface. Is that something is that a mindset that you keep of even when it's challenging, it's like, let's go, and we're gonna gain from this?
Yeah, I think, and that's great observation. And I just feel like I always have kind of a passion burning in here, to do better, to do better. And, you know, it's just as you come up and stuff like that, and you see people, I'll just say there's no shortcut to it, Gabe. There isn't.
There's no pill. Wait a
And
minute.
unfortunately, as I've gone through this business ownership journey, you know, my mistakes have all been exposed. You know, all my mistakes have been exposed.
You're not hiding anything. Yeah, you're not hiding anything. No,
I know
it's right there for the world to see.
100%. And, you know, with Shamrock and specifically, you know, in that, you know, we started getting a bunch of equipment back, and we were forced to have to give a lot of equipment back. And it's because we couldn't outpace a falling knife, you know, in the market. Yeah. Number one, couldn't outpace the repairs on the stuff coming back. And at the same time, I have insurance premiums going through the roof, where our vendor came back and sent a sheet that says, I know your values on this equipment that you're leasing out is X. Well, today it's X. Ugh. And that's, you know, you take $100,000 premium to $147,000 premium. You give 27 pieces of equipment of the 53 back, and then your premium comes back at 133,000 still. You cannot, you know, reality sets in where it's like, I can't cash flow that. We have to immediately adjust immediately. Right. You know,
right? Yeah,
immediately.
And business ownership's about quick decisions, and you might not have all of the actionable intelligence that you need in order to make a decision fast and and that's kind of what really makes leaders shine, is that they're able to go forward with a decision even though they might be wrong. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's okay to be wrong, as long as, you know, it's not really at the expense of other people. Maybe it's okay to be wrong if it's more at the service of other people. At least I try to maintain that if I can. Right. Right. But yeah, that's the decisions need to be made in order for you to grow, in order for you to be successful. Developing a practice and a habit of it is good. Like immediately, like you said, you know, you've got to adjust, work it.
And it goes to what I said. I mean, that mistake has been exposed, right? There has a couple months where I put my head in the sand, quite honestly, just hoping and praying it gets better, and that opportunity will come in, you know, that course. And
yeah, but even if it comes in, you're not going to see it if your head's in the sand, right?
Boom. And you just said it, or you're spinning, and, you know, you're just watching yourself go in a circle, you know?
Yeah, so somebody shared with me a great analogy. They said, you know, don't be a hamster, because a hamster thinks it's climbing a ladder. And then when you step out and you look at it, it's not climbing anything, right? It's in a hamster wheel. And so you might think you're going somewhere, but you need to get that 30,000-foot view, see what's going on. Don't be the hamster.
Yeah, but don't be the hamster. But I think the other thing with that, Gabe, is like, you got to understand that that's just a hamster wheel, right? How do I know that's not a mountain that I have to climb versus a hamster wheel? And I think in my case, I didn't realize it was a hamster wheel until it was too late. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my, you know, and you have to go through those emotions of reflection, you know, disappointment, build yourself back up, you know, and the work doesn't go away. You know, my passion doesn't go away.
Right.
So you have to readjust. And you know what? It's okay to do too, Gabe. And I didn't do this. You can ask for help. You can ask for help
about that, Brian. I mean, honestly, and you know, but we get locked up though, right, man? I mean, we get in a position where we're just like, we can do this. And me personally, I'm a self-made man. And when I'm now just learning how valuable help is, how valuable coaches are. I have 2 coaches myself, you know, and how valuable advisors are and consults. And it's not right there in front of you all the time, especially when you have done a really good job of depending on your own decisions, depending on your own intelligence, your own interpretations of reality. And I really appreciate that.
Your own interpretations of reality. And that is, oh man, you know, and you never know sometimes when the light bulb goes off, you know, and and then it's just like, oh, you know, and I've had a lot of those moments where if I could go back, or if, hindsight was 2020.
Right.
However, they don't keep me up at night. You know what I mean? They don't.
Yeah.
What keeps
Forward
me up
thinking.
is what I'm going to do. That's what keeps me up at night,
Yeah. I think I'm in that boat too. Just where are we going? What path is this heading towards? And I think that's important. All right. So we focused a lot on the business aspect of stuff. Why did you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed to working for someone else? What was that transition like for you?
That transition for me was, I had to build up my confidence along the way, right?
Hmm.
I'm disappointed in myself, and as I don't even want to say it, but I'm 45 years old, and I probably should have done it 10 years earlier. You know what I mean? Right at coming out of CH Robinson back in like 2011, 2012, 2013.
Right.
I should have stuck with that entrepreneurial journey, or really started
Yeah.
that entrepreneurial journey. However, I don't think I was mature enough for it at that point in time, and reflecting. But once I got, I will give, Trent Murphy, Renee Murphy, at that time, Dustin Peterson. There's some people that, basically when they say this is what we're going to do, we put the plan on paper. Now it's like, you need to go out and execute,
Heck yeah. Yeah.
At the same time, I got thrown in the pool and said, hey, go be a trucking company owner. Like, oh my God, understanding.
Okay. Right.
So, we started off very slow, and my partner and I really learned along the way together, and that's why I have like such a respect for John Dill, my partner, because honestly, if I was him, I would have said, dude, I'm out of here, like I'm out of here. And especially
Steady
with
Eddie.
Steady Eddie, man. And that's just like, God, I do think like God puts certain people in your life at certain
Sure.
periods of time. And there's no, my wife's in that category. John's in that category. Kyla, my controller, who kind of runs my books and stuff like that, and ran the books at CJM Financial for years, manages my books. She is somebody that does a lot that I don't pay her for, because she's my friend. And I think she sees what we're trying to do, and then obviously ultimately I want her to work for me, so it's like,
right.
You have certain people in your life that God put there, and you really have to value them, you know what I mean? And
You went back
Yeah.
a minute ago, and you were talking about, it kind of makes you think like, why didn't I start this 10 years ago, right? Or why didn't I know what I did? Why didn't I know what I know now 10 years ago, right? And you're trying to basically reshape reality for some, in your mind.
Yeah.
And honestly, life isn't about the achievement. This is an opinion of mine. Life isn't about the achievement. It has always been about the journey. And the reason why you didn't do it 10 years ago, the reason why I didn't do it forever ago, was because I wasn't supposed to do it then. In the end, I was supposed to do it now. I was supposed to be who I am now. And then the same goes for you. You were supposed to be it now. You didn't learn the things that you needed to learn in order to be who you needed to be when it finally happened. And we tend to get into that space, that head trashy space sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, man, I really wish if I would have known what I know now, that whole mentality. And in the end, though, it really is head trash. And it's just,
Trash.
set it aside. Set it aside.
You're talking about, with 2024 and stuff like that, there is something about visually seeing something on the calendar, and talking with people about leaving something in the past and moving forward. And it's a great, that's why I think, the beginning of the year is just such a great excuse, to literally my will reset,
Yeah.
and bring it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's fast forward. What's in the next 3 to 5 years? What's it look like?
Well, my focus is, I kind of have Shamrock, like I was kind of going, I took Shamrock from 63 assets all the way down to 11, I took 7 drivers all the way down to 1 driver, that that headspace, that trashy headspace, that starts to play a major role when you are in the hamster wheel and you realize you're in the hamster wheel. And now my energy has to be focused on getting out of that, scaling down over here, and then scaling up over here. And so really it was crazy trying to catch a falling knife through the second half of 22 all the way through 23 on one side of the house, while basically tripling up the other side of the house. You know what I mean? And the other side of the house is less assets and more managed services. And that's cleaner revenue, Gabe. You know, that's clean. And so, and I can have a direct impact on that, you know, from a sales standpoint.
Right.
And for me, I'm excited about this year and what I can do with that company and what I am going to do with that company, because I control me, you know? And if I'm focused and I'm engaged and I know what I want,
yeah, literally game on. Literally
fun.
Game on.
Yeah. And I like to I pace around a lot. I have ADHD like no other. I mean, sure, Shay in the meetings and stuff like that. But when I focus that energy and I use it, it can be a negative for me sometimes, but I can also use it as one of my superpowers. You know what I mean? And
absolutely,
when I'm bad enough, you know, I've put the work in, and I know that I check those boxes from an attention to detail standpoint.
Right.
I know I'm absolutely lethal. You know, I'm lethal.
I've got I tend to, I do a good job about seeing the positive in people and seeing the potential in people. That's one of my, I believe it's a gift of mine.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. And there's certain people out there that you can just tell they've got something that nobody else has. They have something, their future is going to be different than everyone else's future due to that gift that they have. And Brian, you're right on the top there, man. And it's just of the experiences that I've shared with you, not just here, but also in Rotary, where we know each other. I've seen you, I've seen the way you act and how you surround yourself with that energy. And man, it honest to God, it's breathtaking. And it's something I think more of us need. And a lot of us are afraid to expose, right? We're afraid to be, to me, that's a vulnerability, right? And it's about exposing that.
I 1000% agree. And I would say this, like, you know, for advice for people, you know, and for me, is that you know, you have to be the internal advocate, right? You have to be an internal advocate, not only for yourself, but the people that are around you that really love you. You know what I mean? That really love. And honestly, for a lot of people, I feel like they need to really take stock and go through a list of the people that are in their lives. You know what I mean? And be like, are these people helping me get somewhere? Are they making me a better person? Or God, do they consume me with negativity? Do they consume me into their drama? You know, do I end up getting phone calls about their crap? You know, and I think when you're able to like really take stock in the people that want to see you succeed, they want to see you win, right?
Yes.
They're not harboring jealousy or anything like that. They just, you know, I think that's why, like for Ann and I, you know, when she first came to Ankeny, that is my wife, Ann, you know, Ann Tiernan, she is an advocate for everybody. And I know that served her well. And that's something that I've learned from her, you know, through her chamber, her community relationships and stuff like that. And when I started getting more involved, it's just that if you can be that eternal advocate for everybody and they know that you want to see them win, it's going to be good. Life's great, you know?
I love that, man. And I model my life off that. I keep telling myself, and I think Zig Ziglar or one of them said that you help enough people get what they want, they're going to help you get what you want. And so I've always kind of had that mindset. I want to surround myself with successful people, and I want to be a part of helping them to achieve that success. And so I love that about Ann. And actually, I want to give a shout out to the Ankeny Chamber here. A great group of people over there. Shay has been heavily involved with them and the other local chambers around the area as well. If you're watching this, the chamber is just a great resource for small businesses like ours. And I quite honestly, I think a lot of people don't utilize it enough.
Well, Ann has been the Total Resource Campaign team lead. My gosh, probably almost 10 years now.
Wow.
And the chamber is what you want to make of it, right? I mean, all the opportunities to network and get involved and understand what the other members do in their businesses.
Right.
Use the directory. It's like, come on, guys. It's for my business, it's not like, I don't sell insurance or anything like that. Where a lot of business to business stuff at the networking events and stuff like that. But you never know who has a connection with somebody else, and
That's right.
my biggest customers that I have right now is just because I asked a question, and next thing I know,
Crazy.
you're having lunch with these people, and the next thing you know, you moved 800 loads for them in a year, so
like, how did that even happen?
yeah, but that's all, it's fate.
Yeah, it is, right. We've covered a lot today, and for those who are watching this one, worth rewatching. Brian is just an active man, and he's going places. We know it. We just know it. As we begin to wrap up, I've got a few rapid fire questions I want to get off. These are quick, top of your head answers. We'll see if you can do it. One word or one sentence. And you ready?
Yes.
Let's rock it. What is the key to success for you?
Focus and discipline.
Love it. What is the one piece of advice for other business owners?
Stay positive and ask for help.
Ask for help. Legit. I like you're bringing it back around too.
Yeah,
what's one book you're reading right now or have read most recently?
Double Up.
Who's that by?
Oh gosh. Why would you do that to me? Authors, man. You're lucky I actually
read. I'll find it. Double Up.
My wife has read 50 books this year, and I've read, I think, and this is so embarrassing, and this is probably not going to look good, but I'm a visual guy. I'm a kind of a podcast guy, and I'm a YouTube guy. So that's where I kind of source my information. Brian Tiernan sitting in front and reading, and first off, my eyes are getting worse. So after like 5 minutes looking at the paper, and I hate wearing my glasses, so I end up listening to podcasts more often.
Some really fun mindset stuff to share with you later. So we'll jump all over that. If you had to choose only one area of your business you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would it be?
Cash flow.
Cash flow. Perfect. All right. Before we get into the final question of the day, how can others learn more about you or your companies? And how can they get in contact?
Yeah, for sure. You can email me at Brian, BRIAN, at DSM-Advantage.com. Other email address, Brian at shamrocktrans.com. It isn't hard to find my cell phone number, and I'm probably friends with everybody on Facebook, so you can always message me. And, you can probably catch me at Tuesdays at noon at Rotary, at the Ankeny Golf and Country Club with your beautiful wife. So... who is awesome. By the way, got to give a shout out to Shay Moore. She did our Rotary Christmas party a few weeks ago, and it was the best Christmas party we ever had. And that's
amazing. That's amazing. She got a lot of good feedback from that. The whole social committee got a lot of good feedback from that. That's fantastic.
I would do it again in a second.
All right, man. Last question. What is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring to me today. That's a great question. I think it's kind of a general. Anybody that puts themselves out there, and there's people that put themselves out there, I say over here, and then there's people that put themselves freaking out there.
Right.
It's okay. I mean, a lot of people can do things based off principle, right? And it can cost them, then it can cost them financially by doing the right thing,
right.
And I've known a lot of people here in the last year that have done the right thing and have kind of been penalized financially for it,
Short term.
Yep. Well, you just said it, Gabe. Short term. So
Right.
kind of persevere, and right or wrong, that inspires me. You know what I mean? It's like giving up, you know.
That's
And
good.
honestly, I've been blessed with a beautiful family, and stuff like that. And when I see people that have Gabe, dealt with loss, and then be able to persevere, case in point, through that, and then being into others, that inspires me. It really does.
Heck yeah. I appreciate you, man. As we wrap up, I just want to say thanks, Brian. This has been an amazing spotlight on your journey, not just a business, but your personal journey as well. I'm deeply grateful that you allowed me to share this story with you, man.
For sure. No, thank you. I appreciate it. A great time.
Awesome. This has been Business Spotlight with Brian Tiernan of DSM Advantage and Shamrock Transport, right? Shamrock Transport.
Close enough.
Shamrock Advanced Transport. There we go. And your host, me, Gabriel Moore with Action Coach Business Coaching. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.